Hello there, guys. This is Paul from Slightly Below Average, and I've never really done anything like this on my channel or at all, but I've over the last year or so gotten into ASMR to help me sleep because I have really bad sleeping problems, and really anything that works I'll take, and I've really used it to help relax me. And for those of you who don't know what ASMR is, it's noises or soft talking or particular visual stimuli that activate a area in the brain that relaxes you. Some people get it from everything from looking at specific colors to hearing the sound of paper or something like that. It depends. And well, there's not a lot of gaming content out there, and to me at least, Dark Souls is a very relaxing game. I know that might seem kind of contrary to what the game is and everything, but there's just a beauty about it that I personally find very intriguing, and I wanted to make this series, and depending on whether it's successful or not, I may make more videos like this because I struggle with commentating, and I find commentating like this to be a lot easier and less anxiety inducing. So we are going to go ahead and make a new game now. I'm not going to be doing too much in the way of skips or anything like that. This will be a guide in the sense that you can follow it. I'm only going to be doing a couple things out of order. I'm not going to be doing too much backstabbing or parrying. I usually play with a lot of that, but it makes the game go very quickly, and it's less interesting to watch, I think. So instead we will just be playing through, and I am going to go ahead and name the character. I think let's see here. I'm not too certain what I want to name him. I guess I will just name him after myself, so alright, now that we have chosen our name, we should choose a sex. Obviously I am a guy, so we will be a guy for the purposes of this guide. And class. So each of these classes here has some lore associated with it. So I'm gonna read those to you. First we have the warrior. He's a fearless warrior and an expert with weapons, has very high strength and dexterity. And over there on the stats you can see that we have 13 strength and 13 dexterity. But I don't think that we will be starting as a warrior. Next up, we have the knight, a low-ranking knight, high in HP, with very solid armor, and not easily toppled. This is a very good class for a starting player, as it is the only class, I believe, that starts out with any poise, and that will make the game much easier for a new player. But I am not a new player, and I already know what class I'm going to pick, and it is not the knight. So next up, we have the wanderer, an aimless wanderer who wields a scimitar. They have high dexterity, and over there you can see 14 dexterity. Although they do not have very much health, so we will not be starting with this. Also, the scimitar is not a very good weapon because it has very poor range. The thief, a guilt-ridden thief, high critical hits, and has the master key. This is a good starting class if you want to choose another starting gift in addition to the master key, so that you can have two. I recommend to everybody that they start with the master key for every playthrough. But in our playthrough, we will not be starting with the master key, which is a first for me. I have very rarely started without it. So throughout this guide there is a possibility that I will become lost because I will need to find a key to open a specific door. Next up, we have the bandit, a savage bandit, high strength, wields a heavy battle axe. The bandit is also a very good starting class, as it fast rolls and has some big armor, and the spider shield is quite good for an early game shield, but we will not be starting as a bandit. Next is the hunter, bow-wielding hunter, okay at close range, but weak with magic. I do not recommend that anybody starts with the hunter, as the bow is very useless. Sorcerer, a sorcerer of Vinheim, the dragon school, and can cast sorceries. We will not be starting as a sorcerer. Next, we have the pyromancer, a swamp pyromancer, casts fire spells and wields a hand axe. This is a very good starting class because you start off at level 1, which means that your first few levels are very, very cheap. Also, he starts with pyromancies, which are very good and do a lot of damage, so I highly recommend this class. Next, we have the cleric, who is also a very good starting class, as they start with the mace and 14 faith, and we will probably be starting with a cleric. The cleric on a pilgrimage wields a mace and casts healing miracles. Next, we have the deprived, unclothed enigma, only armed with a club and a plank shield. Now, the deprived is actually a very good starting class, and one that I would actually recommend. because the club is actually an extremely good weapon. And for starting at level 6, they have 11 in every stat, so if you are not certain what you want to do, this is a very good starting point. However, I believe that we will be starting either as a pyromancer or as a cleric. I am uncertain which, because the cleric will be starting as a cleric, and that's because we can go ahead and get the pyromancy anyway, and we will have faith right from the beginning for additional healing, which we will want. And then for our starting gift, we will be selecting the Old Witch's Ring, but I will go ahead and read through all of these. So we have the Goddess's Blessing, Divine Holy Water, fully restores HP and status. The Black Firebomb, explodes upon contact when thrown, more deadly than a standard bomb. Twin Humanities, a tiny sprite called Humanity, sometimes found on carcasses. Binoculars, used to peer at faraway sights. We can get these very early, so we won't be picking these up. The Pendant, a trinket, no effect, but fond memories comfort travelers. This actually does not do anything, so there is no reason to get it. The Master Key opens any basic lock. Initial equip for the Thief. We will not be selecting the Master Key for this playthrough, so we will ignore it. Tiny Being's Ring, special tribal ring, grants small increase to HP. We do not need that. And the Ring of Favor and Protection that we will be getting will be better than this. Old Witch's Ring, gift from a witch, an ancient ring with no obvious effect. This is the gift that we will be starting with for our playthrough, because it will allow us to receive special dialogue later that I would like to hear. And for our physique, I am a rather large person, so we will be starting as large. And this actually looks rather like my face, although I am quite large, so I think we will go with a Delta Farmer. But first we will read through all of these. So a very average commoner face, then the Delta Farmer, commonly seen face in the 5-finger delta. A Stora Noble, handsome face of the refined, common in Astora. The Dragon Scholar, intelligent, sharp lines, but scholarly looks invite insult. The Thurland Cleric, look common in Thurland, known for its stalwart clerics. Since we are starting as a cleric, perhaps we shall choose this face. Jubilant Katarina, jovial features of Katarina, known for festivity and drink. This is where Siegmeyer and Sigurd are from. The dubious Karim, ominous features associated with the Earl of Karim. Classic Xena. Thoughtful, mature face, common in historical Xena. The eerie Great Swamp. Great Swamp heretics face prejudice for their atypical looks. Understandable. Far East traveler. Face from a distant eastern land of almond eyes and thin lips. Alright, we will be selecting the Thurland cleric because we will be a cleric, and so I suppose we will be from Thurland. Next is our hair. The cleanly shaved bald head, rough warrior hair, short, swept back, the ponytail, and wild. We will go with the wild hair, and dark brown for the color, and this will be acceptable, I think. So, once again, we are starting as a cleric with the old witch's ring.
In the age of ancients, the world was unformed, shrouded by fog. A land of grey crags, arch trees, and everlasting dragons. But then there was fire, and with fire came disparity. Heat and cold, life and death, and of course, light and dark. Then from the dark they came and found the souls of lords within the flame. Nito, the first of the dead. The Witch of Izalith and her daughters of Chaos. Gwyn, the Lord of Sunlight, and his faithful knights. And the furtive pygmy, so easily forgotten. With the strength of lords, they challenged the dragons. Gwyn's mighty bolts peeled apart their stone scales. The witches weaved great firestorms. Nito unleashed a miasma of death and disease. And Seath the Scaleless betrayed his own, and the dragons were no more. Thus began the Age of Fire. But soon the flames will fade, and only dark will remain. Even now, there are only embers, and man sees not light, but only endless nights. And amongst the living are seen carriers of the accursed dark sign. Yes, indeed. The dark sign brands the undead. And in this land, the undead are corralled and led to the north. Where they are locked away to await the end of the world. This is your fate.
So, now we have seen the intro and been given a little information about this world. We are undead and locked in this asylum to await the end of the world. Now, I'm gonna pick this up. The dungeon cell key. We are gonna look at what everything does. So, we start with the black separation crystal. This black crystal, long a symbol of farewell, is granted to banished undead. The crystal sends phantoms back to their homes, or sends you back to yours. Beware of fickle use of this item if you intend to nurture relations. The dark sign. The dark sign signifies an accursed undead. Those branded with it are reborn after death, but will one day lose their mind and go hollow. Death triggers the dark sign, which is bearer to the last bonfire rested at, but at the cost of all humanity and souls. So, essentially we can choose to use this and we will die, but everything we have will disappear. So I don't recommend using that unless you are stuck somewhere and cannot get out. We do not have any upgrade materials, obviously, because we have just started the game. The dungeon cell key, which is what I just picked up. Key to the dungeon of the Undead Asylum in the north. A mysterious knight, without saying a word, shoved a corpse down into the cell, and on its person was this key. Who was this knight? And what is his purpose? There may be no answers, but one must still forge ahead. Heal. Heal. Elementary miracle, cast by clerics. Restores HP. To use a miracle, the caster learns a tale of the gods and says a prayer to be blessed by its revelations. Heal is the shortest of such miraculous tales. So, it appears that miracles are stories that give you a revelation, and that knowledge allows you to perform something, rather than the god doing it themselves. Rather, the person seems to do it through inspiration. Very interesting. The straight sword hilt. The hilt of this lost sword was found in the Undead Asylum, only slightly better than one's bare hands, and not recommended for extensive use. Be certain to find a replacement quickly. We have no arrows. The holy robe. Robe donned by men of the cloth. Though plain to the eye, its hardy fabric repels rain and keeps the body warm. Those dissatisfied with church teachings must test their faith by going on a spiritual journey. Such is the ritual of self-purification of the way of white. So, it looks like we took issue with the church, and so we were forced to go on a journey of repentance where we became undead. Or maybe we were undead before we went. I'm not too certain. Traveling gloves. Thick, sturdy gloves made for travelers on extended journeys. Holy trousers. I believe this is the same, so I will not read it. The old witch's ring. Old ring from an old witch. Engraved minutely with indecipherable script, but seemingly useless. Alright, that appears to be everything. I am going to quickly change some of the audio settings. Forge ahead, and in there we can see some other undead that have apparently lost their way. And over there we can see a really big guy, the Asylum Demon. And we don't want to mess with him. But something I just love about this game is how they managed to make everything look so big. Now, I am just going to leisurely stroll through a lot of this, simply to be a bit more relaxing. And over there, we appear to have a friend. A nice little friendly undead, if we want to get a closer look at him. He has red glowing eyes, which we do not appear to have. We have black eyes. I wonder what the difference is. We don't want to be too wet, so we're gonna head up here. And out into this area proper. We are not gonna sit at this bonfire because I don't think it's very necessary, but if you want to, feel free. I am going to unequip this straight sword hilt because we will not be needing it. Now, you can see up there at the very top of the screen the boss, but we're not going to fight him right away. Instead, we're going to run through over to this door, and we are safe. You can see him thrashing around in there, patrolling, and we don't want to fight him yet. And we're gonna pick up our shield here, the east-west shield, which I will read the description of in a moment. And here we have the mace. And like I said, I will be avoiding backstabs and parries unless I need them to kill something urgently. There is an item up there, but we cannot get to it yet, so we're gonna go this way. And up there, there is a boulder, which will open up this door. And inside it, we're going to meet the knight that helped us, basked in the ray of light.
Oh, you. You're no hollow. Hmm? Thank goodness. I'm done for, I'm afraid. I'll die soon, then lose my sanity. I wish to ask something of you. You and I, we're both undead. Hear me out, will you?
Yes. Yes, we will hear him out.
Regrettably, I have failed in my mission, but perhaps you can keep the torch lit. There is an old saying in my family, "Thou who art undead art chosen, and thine exodus from the Undead Asylum maketh pilgrimage to the land of ancient lords. When thou ringeth the bell of awakening, the fate of the undead thou shalt know." Well, now you know, and I can die with hope in my heart. Oh, one more thing. Here, take this. An Estus flask, an undead favorite.
We have received the Estus flask.
And this.
And we have received a key.
Now I must bid farewell. I would hate to harm you after death. So go now, and thank you.
Let's see if he has anything else to say.
Now I must bid farewell. I would hate to harm and
No, he does not. So, this was the knight that saved us earlier, and it appears that he is about to expire, and he seems to think that he will go mad, so we will leave him to his life. Now we are gonna go down here. Oh, and there we go. He has just died. Now we are gonna open this door here so that we can come back down as necessary. But we're not gonna go quite that way yet. Instead, we're gonna go up here and kill this hollow. They're not very scary enemies, relatively easy to put down. But we are gonna open this door with that key and to proceed through here, where I believe we will pick up the talisman so that we can have some healing spells. And we have picked up the talisman, which I will equip. The canvas talisman. Like I said, not very difficult at all. We are gonna run here, and we will take the backstab on this guy because it is not very difficult. Well, there is another guy back here, so I suppose we will go fight him. He has a shield and a sword. And I'm sorry about that. That was reflex. I should not have done that. I will have to work on not parrying and not backstabbing. Alright, we're gonna be going into our first boss fight here, so if we step through the boss fog, we will get a plunge on this guy and almost mess it up. But instead we will run behind him. And get our first taste of Dark Souls bosses. He is very easy to defeat. Just stand behind him and hit him. Not very hard at all, especially because you will do a lot of damage with your weapons with the plunge. It will be difficult to die to him so long as you stay behind him, stay in his rear. And now we get a view of where we are. Very mountainous terrain. Very far in the north, we are told, so near the end of the world, I expect, because the world is flat, and Dark Souls, at least as far as I believe it to be. So, we, or at least there is only one continent, and nobody has ever sailed around. There is just endless ocean at the edge. But out there we can see lots of trees and some sort of road crossing through. Probably the only way here, I would imagine. Maybe traders or caravans come here. There doesn't appear to be any staff at this place, and as a matter of fact, it looks very ruined, so I wonder how long it's been since we were put here. I would imagine a very long time indeed, because if undead are such a security concern, you would expect this place to be well fortified, but even the guards have gone hollow, as you can see, so I believe there's an item. No, we already picked it up. We picked up that soul. But this game is just so beautiful. It looks so big. Very few other games manage to capture the scale. It's simply breathtaking. We are now gonna go to Firelink Shrine.
Only in the ancient legends it is stated that one day an undead shall be chosen. To leave the Undead Asylum in pilgrimage to the land of the ancient lords. Lordran.
Here we are in Lordran, and I'm sure you can hear off in the distance my computer. That is because there is a hard drive that has fallen out of its bracket, and I'm gonna fix that right after this video, but don't worry, it's not the hard drive itself making that noise. It's just that whenever it spins to load something, it brushes against the case, which is metal, and that makes the noise. My hard drive itself is not making that noise, but I've been trying to arrange it, and I just need a new case in general. But anyway, we are now here at Firelink Shrine in Lordran, and we're gonna take stock of Firelink and talk to this guy here and look at what we've gotten, and then we're gonna go ahead and end it. But before we do that, let's just take in the view out of one of these windows. Absolutely massive scale. And we can see, if we walk somewhere where there isn't grass, goes up and up, way beyond what we can see. Now, let's talk to this guy here.
Well, what do we have here? You must be a new arrival. Let me guess. Fate of the undead, right? Well, you're not the first. But there's no salvation here. You'd have done better to rot in the Undead Asylum. But too late now. Well, since you're here, let me help you out. There are, actually, 2 bells of awakening. One's up above in the undead church. The other is far, far below, in the ruins at the base of Blight Town. Ring them both, and something happened. Brilliant, right? Not much to go on. But I have a feeling that won't stop you. So, off you go. It is why you came, isn't it? To this accursed land of the undead?
It appears that our job is to ring 2 bells of awakening. But let's see if he has anything else to say.
Ah, your face. You're practically hollow. But who knows? Going hollow could solve quite a bit.
So, this state that we are in is supposedly called being hollow, and you can see why it would be called that, because there's nothing in our eyes. We are empty on the inside.
What? Restoring your humanity? Well, there are a few ways to go about it. Collect it bit by bit from corpses. Or you can butter up a cleric and get yourself summoned. And the quickest way, although I'd never do it, is to kill a healthy undead and pillage its humanity. Coveting thy neighbor is only human, after all.
So, it looks like to fix ourselves, we have to take some humanity from someone else, either by invading them, killing someone in our world, or helping someone fight a boss. And I haven't decided yet whether or not we will be engaging in multiplayer in this guide. We will probably not be summoning for any bosses for us, but we may help someone. We will have to see. But on top of that, he seems rather sketchy. Seems very insistent on telling us that he does not attack other people. Let's see if he has anything else to say.
What are you looking at? Don't try anything clever. You might regret it.
We aren't gonna try anything clever.
What? You want to hear more? Oh, that's all we need. Another inquisitive soul. Well, listen carefully then. One of the bells is up above in the undead church, but the lift is broken. You'll have to climb the stairs up the ruins and access the undead burg through the waterway. The other bell is back down below the undead burg, within the plague-infested Blight Town. But I'd die again before I step foot in that cesspool.
Alright, so we now know which way to go. Up through the waterway. Let's see if he has anything else.
Bloody hell, what is it now? You ask too many questions.
And I'm gonna ask another one.
What now? I'm not up for chatting. Leave me alone.
Alright, appears there's nothing else to say. So, we are going to take a look at what we've picked up. Although, I suppose first, we might as well go around and grab everything that Firelink has to offer us. So, right here we will have some humanity, which will give us a nice start down into that well. I wonder why he's hanging here. Did he want some water? Or was he killed from behind and somebody tried to dump him down? I'm unsure. And that's something I love about this game, is every placement of everything tells a story. Like, we can see Firelink Shrine here, used to link the fire, as is in the name. Has not been used in a very long time. Look how dilapidated it is. And that is something that we will learn more about throughout the story, as to why everything looks like this, looks so dead, and why it is in the afternoon. You will notice that this place appears to be the afternoon, and we have another friendly soul over here. Let's go talk to him.
Hello there. I believe we are not acquainted. I am Petrus of Thurland. Have you business with us? If not, I prefer to keep a distance, if possible.
I would like to have some business with you.
Hello there. I realize that I have requested that we retain our distance, but I also want you to know that it is not meant in ill will. Here, take this, as a token of peace. No, go ahead. It's for you.
We have received a copper coin, and it appears this guy wants to practice social distancing.
Oh my, you again. Oh, I know. How about this? I have to await my companions here anyway. So what if I were to teach you some miracles? Would that please you?
Yes, very much, because we are a cleric.
Very well. Then first, a covenant with the gods.
Excellent. We are already a cleric.
Now let me share my miracles. Only their ultimate effectiveness will be determined by your efforts and your faith.
So, let's see what he sells. Lots of different spells that we will be coming back for, as well as a talisman. Now, we don't want to buy any of that yet, but we will learn his gesture of shrug. We don't want to talk to him quite yet, because we need a couple more souls, because we will need to bribe him for some information later on, and we only get one chance to do that, so we aren't going to talk to him quite yet.
Come again. The effectiveness of the teachings depend upon your faith.
Alrighty, now we will go up here, and up these stairs. I'm noticing that the slow walk does not seem to work very well on the stairs, so hopefully that is easily remediable. Now, I believe there's an item up here, so yes, there is. I think that it is a soul, and we can hear the bell of awakening chiming in the distance. That chimes every time a player rings it in their world, and it goes almost constantly. So people are still playing this game almost 8 years after it released. And there are some chests out here that we will want items from. With this one over here having some cracked red-eye orbs, 4 of them, I believe, which we can use for PvP, should we desire. And here we have the Morning Star and the talisman, which he was trying to sell us, but we did not need to purchase it. Now, here we will have the Homeward Bones, which will allow us to teleport around. Teleport back to the bonfire that we have sat at most recently. And here we will have some Lloyd's Talismans, which will prevent other players from healing, and will give us some, allow us to reveal the forms of mimics should we desire, and take their stuff. Now I'm going to run through here and grab some items, and I may die doing this. There is a definitive possibility of that, so do not be too surprised when I die. But we are gonna come back and grab my souls. Alright, I have retrieved my souls, so now we are going to try to run past again and back out. Now that we have gotten some items to help us start, there's one more item I believe that we will need over here. I believe it is a soul. Yes. Oh, so close. Okay, we have collected my souls again, and we are escaping this time back to the shrine proper, where we will sit down and take a look at everything that we have got. There are a couple other items throughout Firelink Shrine, but we will be coming back for them later. Now, let's take a look at what we have. We have the mace here. I will start here, actually, with the Estus flask. The undead treasure, these dull green flasks, fill with Estus at a bonfire. Fills HP. The Estus flasks are linked to the Firekeepers. The Dark Tales also make a reference. An emerald flask from the Keeper's soul. She lives to protect the flame, and dies to protect it further. So, we have first learned of something called the Dark Tales here, and the Firekeeper. We understand that the Estus flask is made from a Firekeeper's soul, and the cracked red-eye orb. Defeat the master of the world you have invaded to acquire humanity. The cracked red-eye orb allows players to temporarily imitate this ability normally limited to the dark wraiths of Koth. The dark wraiths of Koth. Apparently they invade people's worlds and steal their very humanity. We already read this. The firebomb. A bisque urn filled with black powder explodes, inflicting fire damage. Relatively powerful ranged weapon, especially in situations calling for fire damage. A very precious item at low levels. Many warriors use these to augment their strategic repertoire. Lloyd's Talisman. A talisman utilized by Allfather Lloyd's cleric knights to hunt down the undead. Blocks Estus recovery within a limited area. In the outside world, the undead are accursed creatures, and Lloyd's cleric knights are widely praised for their undead hunts. This blessed talisman blocks undead recovery, allowing the knights to fight with impunity. So we now know that Allfather Lloyd organizes hunts of undead, and that undead are thought of as cursed and bad. But there seems to be a problem, because we know that undead merely come back at a bonfire if they die, so killing them accomplishes nothing, although I suppose that this could be the method of corralling them to the north. The Homeward Bone. Bone fragment reduced to white ash. Returned to last bonfire, used for resting. Bonfires are fueled by the bones of the undead. In rare cases, the strong urge of their previous owners to seek bonfire enchants their bones with a homeward instinct. So, bonfires are made by bones of the undead. I wonder what makes undead bones special. Binoculars. Binoculars made of brass, used to peer at distant scenery. This advanced device was built by a famous craftsman of Astora. Its utility is singular, but its applications many. The value of these specs depends greatly on the imagination of their owner. Now, it says this because you can use these to aim projectiles and spells when normally you cannot, and to look at things far away, obviously. Here we have also learned of Astora, a place beyond Lordran. The soul of a lost undead. Soul of a lost undead who has long ago gone hollow, used to acquire souls. Souls are the source of all life, and whether undead or even hollow, one continues to seek them. This is the same. Humanity. Rare tiny black sprite found on corpses, used to gain 1 humanity and restore a large amount of HP. This black sprite is called humanity, but little is known about its true nature. If the soul is the source of all life, then what distinguishes the humanity we hold within ourselves? So, this is asking the question of what is the difference between this item and this item, if both are the source of life. The copper coin. Coin made of copper. Its face shows Old Man McLoif, god of medicine and drink. Even coins of great value in the world of men have little value in Lordran, where the accepted currency is souls. Those who dream of returning to the outside world are fond of carrying these around. Very interesting. So they trade in souls here, and we already read that. Key to the iron bars on the east side of the 2nd floor of the North Undead Asylum. The Undead Asylum is a giant undead prison segmented by countless iron bars. Even if an undead were to escape from a cell, passage to the outside world would not be gained easily. However, a giant crow came and saved us. Big Pilgrim's Key. Key to the inner door of the Undead Asylum main hall. Big key belonging to a chosen undead pilgrim. But this chosen undead knows not what this pilgrimage has in store. So I suppose this key was fated to become ours. The Zweihander. One of the gigantic great swords. As the name suggests, the Zweihander is held with 2 hands, but its wielder must be inhumanly strong. It is this great weight that sends foes flying when hit solidly. The mace. Iron hammer with a protrusive pommel. Standard weapon for clerics. This simple bladeless strike weapon is effective against most foes and can break the guard of a shield. Wherever one miss leaves one wide open. So this is the weapon that all clerics have. Interesting. That it is a strike weapon. A hammer with sharp spikes on its pommel. One of the more barbaric cleric weapons. Uniquely, this hammer inflicts thrust damage and causes bleeding. So clerics are thought of as barbaric rather than as healers, and it bleeds people out. Very interesting. The winged spear, a long-hilted spear with a barbed point. Long reach and can be used with shield up. Effective against hard exteriors and hits for high damage at the right moment of an enemy's swing, but the hit radius is small and is easily blocked by shields. The talisman. Medium for casting miracles of the gods. Standard talisman issued to common believers. Equip talisman to cast miracles. Attune miracles from a scroll at a bonfire. Most miracles have a limited number of uses. the Canvas Talisman. Medium for casting miracles of the gods. Canvas Talisman is for clerics on pilgrimage. The East-West Shield, wooden shield, decorated by the ancient symbol of a double-headed eagle, painted yellow. Wood shields are lighter than metal shields, but with lower physical damage reduction and reduced shield stability. That is all that we have selected, that we have collected so far. So, in our next episode, we will be going up there and possibly making it through the parish. We will see how this goes. But if you enjoyed this video and you would like more of this type of content, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. If you are uninterested in ASMR content, please leave a comment down below so that I can gauge that, or if you believe that all of my videos should be in this format, please leave a comment down below. This has been Paul from Slightly Below Average, and I hope that you have a great, great day.